Have you ever had one of those weird moments where reality just kind of pauses? You know, a split second where maybe a bird seems to freeze midair, or someone walks behind a pillar and literally never comes out the other side. Most of us just brush that stuff off as deja vu, right? Just a weird glitch in the brain. But what if it's not? What if our reality is actually just a massive, constructed piece of software, and sometimes it just forgets to render? Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to do something a little different today and treat a genuinely terrifying sci-fi narrative as a sort of clinical, academic case study. We'll be digging into a catastrophic system error experienced by a guy named Leo. Okay, let's just dive right into this.
So here is our syllabus for today's case study. We're going to start by defining existential sci-fi, then we'll examine our case study with the first anomaly. From there, we map out the cascading system failures, observe the absolutely terrifying cleanup protocol, and finally, we'll analyze the lingering, pixelated dread.
All right, Section 1, Defining Existential Sci-Fi. Let's get our terms straight and lay down the essential academic groundwork for this case file before we get into the really spooky stuff.
Our core framework today hinges on existential sci-fi and simulation theory. This is a subgenre that is entirely dedicated to examining the absolutely terrifying concept that human reality is nothing more than a constructed digital simulation. It really digs into intense themes like digital solipsism and cognitive dissonance. And honestly, it's brilliant. By taking digital jargon, the terms we use every single day for our computers and our phones, and applying them to the physical, natural world, it creates this visceral, creeping sense of dread. It essentially takes the mundane and makes it feel incredibly unstable.
Moving on to Section 2, Case Study, the first anomaly. Let's officially open the case file on data subject A, Leo. Now, it's worth noting right up front that Leo began his Thursday evening commute just outside of Seattle as a total simulation skeptic. Like, he used to actually laugh at these theories.
Let's track the exact timeline of this system crash, because it escalates quickly. At exactly 6:42 p.m., the very first sensory output fails. Leo's radio doesn't just, go to static, it drops to absolute dead digital silence. Next, driving down Route 104, he sees a silver sedan. But it doesn't just drive past him, it actually drops frames and glitches violently right under a streetlight. And finally, he pulls into a brightly lit gas station, desperately seeking some grip on reality, and there is a complete loss of the environmental audio hum. The wind rustling, the distant crickets, the buzz of the electricity, all of it just gone. Total, suffocating quiet.
This old terrifying vibe is perfectly captured in Leo's own words. He noted it moved in frames. It was like watching a video online with a terrible internet connection. Just stop and think about how unsettling that is for a second. Frame 1, the car is 20 feet away. Frame 2, it's directly next to him. Frame 3, it's gone. No engine sound at all, zero wind displacement. For our case study, this acts as our first undeniable, documented instance of real-world latency in Leo's environment. Which brings us to Section 3, Cascading System Failures. Because as Leo arrives at that gas station, we start to observe severe system degradation. We're shifting from just a weird visual lag to a total, catastrophic breakdown of the world's underlying AI routines. This breakdown is brilliantly illustrated by a corrupted NPC or non-playable character animation loop. Basically, there's a guy in a blue business suit at the gas pump, and he is trapped in this terrifying mechanical 4-second sequence. Step 1, look at watch. Step 2, look at sky. Step 3, sigh. Step 4, shift weight to left foot. And repeat. Even when Leo physically speaks to him, the guy cannot break the cycle. It is a literal loss of human free will, completely reduced to a few lines of broken, repeating code.
But hey, the horror doesn't stop with looping AI out at the pumps. Inside the convenience store, we witness a complete physics engine failure. The cashier is suspended literally mid-blink. But even more terrifying, the cup of coffee she's holding is suspended at a perfect pouring angle where the liquid isn't spilling out. It's acting as this solid, non-frozen mass. By contrasting the looping man outside with the frozen cashier inside, the author expertly demonstrates a total, multi-layered suspension of the world's physics engine. The whole system is just seizing up.
As Leo, totally panicked at this point, flees toward the city center, the author's world building really accelerates. We get the stark contrast between fully rendered reality and degraded reality. Normally, right, our reality has grainy asphalt, detailed leaves, a constant background hum. But as Leo drives, the simulation is literally running out of RAM. The asphalt becomes this smooth, textureless ground, the leaves degrade into these weird blocky trees. It's an absolutely vivid visual representation of a system crash happening in real time.
And that takes us right into the narrative climax of our case study. Section 4, the cleanup protocol. When Leo hits the main intersection, the system's automated maintenance routines are finally deployed.
Leo gives us this chilling description of his encounter with these entities. He says they were dressed in identical, featureless gray jumpsuits. They didn't have faces, just smooth, blank skin. These aren't people, guys. They are 3 sliding figures, literally moving across the pavement without walking. And wherever they touch a frozen object in this crash sector, a tiny ripple of blue static washes over it. And the corrupted data is just erased, gone.
This introduces such a fascinating academic theme: divine intervention as code. You know, in traditional horror, you might face down a demon or a monster. But in existential sci-fi, the concept of God is often modernized as a terrifyingly indifferent IT department. These faceless, smooth-skinned figures are just running automated deletions. They don't hate Leo, they don't feel anything at all. And that cosmic horror, the idea that our world is managed by an apathetic system administrator who is just casually cleaning up corrupted files, is infinitely scarier than any monster in the closet.
Then they stop. In perfect mechanical unison, they turn to look at Leo, and it hits him. He realizes they were looking directly at my car, at me. I was an anomaly, an unfrozen asset in a crashed sector. This is the climactic, horrifying realization of the story. Leo isn't the hero here. He is simply an anomalous variable. He is a piece of rogue code that the system has just flagged to be purged. That realization forces Leo into a completely desperate move, which brings us to our final section, lingering pixelated dread. Let's look at the psychological aftermath of Leo blindly slamming his foot on the gas and speeding straight through that blue static.
So let's look at the system restart data. As Leo hits the static, there is this blinding white flash and the deafening sound of tearing metal. Then, instantly, the system reboots. The podcast on his radio resumes playing exactly where it left off 20 minutes ago. Normal traffic is back. The environmental hum is completely restored. But the real chilling resolution, that comes the next morning. Leo is physically safe in his locked house, sure, but he is permanently altered by the truth. When he looks closely in the bathroom mirror, the reflections of his own eyes are just a little bit pixelated.
So, what is the ultimate thematic takeaway for us? Why does this case study actually matter? Well, it's because existential sci-fi preys perfectly on our inherent, creeping distrust of our own perception and, of course, our digital fragility. Leo's paranoia about the creators knowing he saw the glitch feels so deeply unsettling to us because, let's face it, we all rely on fragile digital systems every single day. The idea that our entire physical reality might be just as prone to lagging, freezing, and crashing, that is a uniquely modern kind of terror.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today, but I want to leave you with a thought pulled directly from Leo's terrifying experience. A question to maybe challenge how you view the rendering of your own reality. Next time your computer or your phone freezes for just a second, will you freeze with it? Because if the creators are always watching for anomalies, you really have to wonder what happens when you finally notice the glitch. Thank you so much for joining me for this case study. Keep your eyes peeled, and until next time, stay curious.